I, I tell you, she said, no, good afternoon, my villagers. Oh, how I tried. I was going to take the high road today. No gloom and doom. But if you spend 1 hour or 1 minute listening to real news, that means black news, series 126, urban news, etc., it'll bring you right back to reality. Did you all hear about the lynching going on over the last couple of weeks?
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Now, I come from an era where lynching was legal, 40s and the 50s. But even I, coming from the state of Florida, didn't personally witness any lynching. But I understand over the past weeks, there have been lynching in our own backyard. August 3rd, Jackson, Mississippi, the lynch state of the nation, you know. 29-year-old Tasha Fortune found hanging from a tree. Now, come on. Some want to say suicide.
Yeah, right.
But how many of us find ropes inviting for anything? A Delta State University student, Trey Reed, found hanged, and a 16-year-old Juliana Enzita in Charlotte, North Carolina, found hanged. Now, please, again, enlighten me. How many of us, African Americans or black folks in general, find ropes inviting for anything? Better be careful out there.
Yes.
No no live thing to trust, as my mom would say. Keep your children informed. It's okay to have white friends, but don't be just one amongst the crew.
That's right.
You know, I have heard a white man warning you against that. Do we have that clip, Norm? I don't know if I brought that in, but I was certainly going to bring it in because he warned against, he warned against black people, black children, being the only one amongst a group of white kids. Now, he's a white man. Some of us are so anxious to be inclusive, but these are serious times.
Yes.
You got to protect your children. They don't know what this America is really all about.
Right.
Many of them came up under the Obama era when we thought we had made it. But it wasn't long before the white backlash, that's what it was, a brutal backlash, because we, the black, brown communities, were gaining some freedom. See, this is from your elder, reflective of my documentary that's coming out soon. I talk about the importance of the African American elders. They can kind of tell you something. See, we know things. Been there, done that. Know things that you younger ones can't even conceive of.
Yes.
But it's here. Not a scare, but it's that truth that has been crushed to the earth that's rising again. Now, I may have botched the quote, but the message is clear.
You didn't.
I know. The trumpeters, or trumpets, however you want to call them, are mad, and like mad dogs, they are not to be trusted.
Absolutely.
Right now, let me thank my team: Sheila, Juanita, Chastity, Arlene, Tony, Norm, and my co-host, Queen Rose Moore, who happens to be our guest today. Rose is so involved these days. I asked her if she would just share some of her activities with us. You know, we, the African American community, is going through some things, and our great
Yes.
ancestor, the late great brother Joe Madison, used to always ask, "What you gonna do about it?" And he always advised us, "Bring it where the goats can get it." That means be very clear up front, no equivocation. I'm going to read her bio and then I will ask her some questions. All right. Rose Moore, a native of New Jersey, is a Black history researcher. Ms. Moore studies Black history from antiquity to modern day Western civilization. She has investigated the Black roots in the Bible, discovering people of color being the only people of the Old Testament scriptures, the progenitors of mankind and the original people of all civilization. She wrote her first publication on Black presence in the Bible in 2004, tracing the root of mankind back to Africa and the first woman's mitochondria DNA. The Discovery Channel had presented the evidence in the documentary film titled The Real Eve. Today, she continues her research in the spiritual and psychological dynamics of the Black man's plight through history. Since then, Ms. Moore has engaged in independent studies on the subject. She's a graduate of Rutgers 1980, Eastern Theological Seminary in 2004. She served as a licensed chaplain in the urban community of Essex County 2004 through 2006, United Chaplain Worldwide Outreach, New Jersey chapter. She said, "I was ordained a deaconess under Pastor Warren Stevens, later assigned to head of Christian education with the last position held as trustee, serving the parishioners of Yaqua, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Yaqua Worship Center in Newark." Ms. Moore currently studies universal laws as they apply to the spiritual psychological construct of the character of a man. She writes papers and articles on the subject. She has taught on the subject since 2010, and she facilitates the facilities of mental wellness and biblical study groups. She is an inventor and first prize award winner of the American Women in Science in 2020. Ms. Moore has recently returned to college pursuing a master's degree in psychology with a focus on people of color and Caribbean studies. Her ambition is to help promote health and wellness to our people from the psychological
That's good.
destructive patterns imposed by system racism. Now, she's presently involved in some new stuff. You wonder how could that be, right? But we're going to hear from her. She's going to tell us about it. What are your present source of doing what you're doing?
Oh boy, well, right now I'm taking just a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gathering a lot of information because, we should always be learning. And that's one of the reasons I joined this podcast.
Okay.
Because it's at the heart of everything that I have studied.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we have to take the banner and carry it on.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we don't do it, who'll do it?
Yeah.
But I quickly want to say I thank you for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You have been more than a boss.
Oh,
You have
well,
been a mentor.
thank you.
I have read some of your books, not all.
Okay.
And I share, most of all, I share your heartthrob in getting, educating, informing, and edifying our people.
Which sounds like an author to me. I'm going to ask you the question: when do you have any thoughts of putting some of what you've done on paper? Or?
I am,
Okay.
which a lot of people say, how come you haven't compiled it into a book?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're forever learning.
Yes.
And I know at some point I do have to compile it into a book. But I'm letting God lead me. I'm letting Him lead me because what I want to leave is something like a combined black legacy, a black mother's legacy to her children, which are the whole village,
Exactly.
combined with evidence based information that is backed up. I have learned a lot, but if I could really talk about what it all culminates to is the gold nuggets that we can leave our children so that they could move forward in the full knowledge and power of who they are. So we know that to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So that is why. So to answer your question, I did get my master's in psychology as of June 28th, 29th.
Okay, bless your soul. Are you
Thank you.
doing? Are you still
What
in
am I
school, or
doing
what
with
you
it?
doing?
Yeah.
Are you
So
done with
that's one of the
school?
reasons. That's one of the reasons that the book has not been compiled, because I want to compile it in order to use it for my dissertation for my master's.
Okay.
Okay. Not only that, I'm recently trying to decide which school I would like it to be a historical black college,
Oh wow!
university,
I wish I had gone.
to get my master's in social justice. Because a lot of times we don't know where life is leading us,
Right.
but we do know that we have, I don't want to use the word appetite, but we're driven in a
Yes.
certain direction based on our gifts and based on our interests and based on our inner man, what our inner man, our
Yes.
gut, our intuition is telling us.
Right.
And so all
And
of this,
based on our particular experiences here in these
that
Americas.
she took it right out of my mouth. And all of those experiences are guided by that.
Exactly.
And that leads you to. So I had no idea that in getting the psychology master to help our people understand why they think the way they think, that I could hope to be not necessarily a seat at the table, but just hope to be a witness at the table when we finally get the people on board that we're looking for in this podcast, which are the experts that can guide us to a workable initiative to solving a lot of the problems
Right.
that are people. And believe you me, they're all psychological, trust me. But this podcast is a big part of it when Ruby explains why we are conditioned to do the things that we do. So I'm just a part of that. And my research will all be a part of either adding to that or being a witness at those experts that you bring to the table.
Well, you are presently, from what I hear, you are presently involved in many things, of course, but one particular thing. Tell us about what you're doing now. The churches will assign you for a role that you
I'm
can very well
happy with
prepared
that.
for.
I am very happy, prepared. Not only am I God prepared me, but I'm very happy about that. And the reason I'm happy about that is because we need to step it up in our churches.
Okay.
And that's why I love Pastor Quick
Yeah.
and at First Baptist,
Right.
because he is one of the first pastors that I've heard in a very long time that said the same thing. We are dealing with a demonic enemy
A demonic force, certainly that's
If
for
you
sure.
don't think that's the spawn of Satan sitting in the White House,
Oh my word.
guess again. And I don't mean to offend any of those who voted for him.
Oh
You're
no,
free to.
I do mean to
We're
offend
free.
those who voted for
We
him.
want
Is
to educate and motivate them to do
See, she's
their
being
own
nice. I'm not that
homework.
nice. I'm older, so I don't have to be that. I'm gonna have the privilege of being who
Your
I
own
need to
due
be.
diligence.
And coming from where I came from, I know a devil when I see it.
Your
And the
own
ones
due
who voted
diligence.
for him,
Right.
make no mistake about it, they understood clearly. But they are suffering too.
Yes.
I might throw that in. They are suffering too
Yes.
right now
Yes.
because what he did, what he's doing to us, somehow manifests itself through other areas and other people. But yeah, they know that I don't give them no slack, no slack at all. Anyone voted for Trump is Trump.
You know,
Okay, I'm sorry. Now you go
listen, I say it in a much different way. Same thing.
hmm
The only reason I say that the people that did that obviously was not in their right mind, was either misinformed, or believed that this man had something that Obama did.
White skin
Well,
for
we
one.
can, no, we can, let's even go deeper. I like to deal with the invisible things that we were not taught. And that's some of the things that Pastor Quick is going about now. I study my Bible metaphysically. I like the invisible things, the things that we can't see, the things that we can read, we can sort of decipher. Or we can be taught like in a classroom or with a seasoned teacher before us. But the things that we don't see, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute in our music. I'm going to use the music. I don't like the word metaphor because it doesn't get, metaphor is a substitute. No, we don't need, I'm going to get right down to the point of the issue.
Okay.
About
Bring
our
it where
music.
the
We
goats
don't
can
need-
get it, huh?
Where the goats can get it. We don't need substitutes. This is the substitutes are the playbook that they've been playing for a long time. They took, today more than ever, I don't know why she asked me to do this at this point in time. I am more, I'm not going to say angry. I wouldn't give them that. I am more informed at this time in my life, and I know that my job is to inform our people, teach them, and give them the proof. But what I want to say about that is I am motivated by the fact that all the studies that I have done in Black history have culminated to this day and time where these people have the unmitigated goal from the beginning of history when they came out of those caves and accepted the kindness of every place on the face of the earth that they stepped on. They received kindness from the Black man, and in return they pillaged, raped, killed, stole. This is all they ever done. So to get back to that original reason why I'm a little easier on them now, because I understand it from a spiritual perspective. That's why I say one, is demonic, and two, I say like this: if you read your Bible, if you don't get in it, it's all there. But you have to pray to ask God to open it up to you. You know a tree by its fruit. Okay? You know a tree. So you look at what they've done over the generations, and you not only is it a rotten tree, but it's a tree with very deep roots. And so that is part of my motivation for the social justice in what you were referring to, what I'm doing. I'm the educational head.
Okay.
Very happy to be the educational head to combine the spiritual truths that God has poured into me over the years with evidence-based knowledge, the psychologists that I've been blessed enough to study their work, and it is a list so long that I cannot give all the credit. We talk about some. I prefer to say very little about the white psychologists because they had an agenda. Uh, but our black psychologists, they did a phenomenal job. It's just that we were not in the position to absorb all that they said at the times that they said it. But we spoke about some. Joy DeGaulle.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many. But I've taken their work, I've studied their work, and I want to combine that evidence-based work that I can back up with proof,
Right.
almost from the beginning of recorded history.
Yeah.
And I have the last part of that segment, if God doesn't lead me further, would be this book I was telling Ruby about, The Making of the White Man.
Okay.
And in it, we have Elijah Muhammad's account, and then the psychologists that came after him said that he was right on point.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were white.
Oh yeah. That's
And
what
he was right on. They said that
You're
he was
absolutely
right. On
right.
point.
And sometimes we believe what we hear coming from their mouths and
Exactly.
opposed to what we know ourselves.
Exactly.
You know, their ice is always colder than ours.
Right.
So that's why
You've
I
said that many
bring,
times.
and that's why I bring, even in the clippings I bring on sometimes, it's the white folk who are making the statements that I've already made. And people looked at me like I was, had some things on top of my head sticking out. But it's, sometimes I may do, but to the extent I usually know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And the bottom line is that's one of the reasons in my documentary that's coming out soon, I'm including a new lexicon, or suggesting anyway,
Right.
that we look at a new way of articulating our lived experience or what we know. We cannot allow anyone to compare, make a statement. Say, for instance, if I talk about what white folks have done to me, that's not hate.
Right.
That's reality, and that's calling a spade a
A spade
spade,
a spade.
and bringing it where the goats can get it.
Right.
And with their action toward us is hate.
Mm-hmm.
When you enslave people, when you do what you demonic things you've done to us,
Right.
that's hate.
Right.
We got to understand there are differences in the way we have to define what we are feeling and
Dealing
talking
with-
about.
Right.
And so when you hear me explain what white folks are doing, and when I bring in information complementing what I'm saying by white folk, then we can see it from a different perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
see it from a different perspective. So now that getting back to your assignment at the church, their First Baptist Church, one of the things I like about that church is a huge, humongous church,
Yes.
but because it has so many different programs, for lack
Oh,
of a better
definitely.
word.
Definitely. Definitely.
That they offer us as parishioners, the missions that they have.
Right.
And so I just like that because you can go there and find almost anything
Anything.
that will help you move
Right.
in the. And one of the things we are talking about more specifically now is this recent regime that we're under.
Yes. Yes.
He
yes.
brings it every Sunday, which
But it's
is
the same playbook.
yeah.
It is the same playbook that they had from the beginning when they found out how powerful we were.
Yeah.
They never built any civilizations. They always conquered
Yeah,
civilizations
definitely.
that we built.
And we're learning that now.
Yeah,
That's the
we
interesting thing.
built
We're learning that now.
But the thing is that makes me go to God on my knees and sometimes crying is that we should have realized this a long time ago. That if we were the first
Yeah.
and everybody came from us, including them.
Well, many of us didn't know that. This is
Yeah.
information that was left out of our history book.
Right, but deliberately.
Yeah, deliberately. Had we known much of what we went through, we may have been able to overcome.
Right.
There would not have been the Thomases created,
Right.
Clarence Thomases of the world.
Right.
Would not have been the Candace Owens of the world.
Right.
But they're in such hatred of themselves
Right.
based on what they have been taught. And as Malcolm X would say, brainwashed, bamboozled, and as my friend would say, brain dirted. So to the extent we really didn't know that, looking at us from a perspective of who we really are, when they're talking about the DEI and affirmative action and all that kind of crazy stuff, got us wanting to elevate ourselves to where they were, using statements like, well, we just as good as they are. That was giving them something that they didn't have.
Right.
They have privilege and we have excellence. Our excellence versus their privilege shows when we get with them.
Right.
It shows the difference.
And
we
that
get there.
infuriates them.
Yeah, infuriates them. And with many of us, we took it as a blessing. I tell you about my experience with years ago. I was the first black manager for this Burroughs Corporation when the machines was as big as the house, you know, the computers. I was one of the first black managers at that particular area. And my boss at the time, a little guy from Virginia, white guy, called me in his office one day, and he asked bluntly, how do you feel to be the first black? I said, insulted. He almost ran on his desk. He floored him. He wondered, excuse me?
I know you did.
Yeah. I said, insulted. He said, well, why were you? I said, that implies that there's no other black around that can do what I'm doing here. And we know that's not the truth.
Right.
You know, so I get a little bit disturbed when I hear us using that. And I know we don't always mean it.
Right, right.
But when you hear sometimes say, oh, we're the first this, we're the first that, they are the first that, well, then why?
Because they hid the history of all the inventors. Listen, anything that they have today, I already knew. I didn't know all of it. I couldn't like point, they invented this, we invented that. Some of it I knew. But I had no idea that we invented all of it.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because I don't know what Bible you guys are reading or anybody's reading, but mine said there's nothing new under the sun. Have you heard that?
I heard that.
And what's missing out of the word?
And if
nothing?
I hadn't read it from the Bible, I heard my mama talking about it.
There you go.
The elders, that's one of their favorite.
There you go.
saying.
I spent a lot of years proofing the Bible because they said that a lot of it was tampered with and this, that, and the other. The language was rearranged a little bit so that the biggest thing that they did is they took a lot of the important books out. And the important books that they took out was the spiritual powered ones, which brings me back to what Ruby was talking about, how they hated us because they knew who we were, the powers that be. Let me put it that way. The masses know. So what the powers that be did, knowing who we were, putting all of these specialists, psychologists, sociologists, scientists, history is about us, trust me, because they spent all their money,
Speaking of history,
time, and everything
exactly.
to learn who we were.
Speaking of history, and I ain't gonna get into that now because I don't want to get that deep. But there are things we all have a hint of the Ethiopian Bible, which precedes the other Bibles by thousands of years. Not getting into that, but we do know there's been biblical writings long before we was introduced to any of it over here. And that's one of the great things about our pastor. He does go into that. And a lot of, I just won't say him because I listen online to a lot of the other black pastors. They are all coming to the realization that they're going to have to teach us from scratch almost what we didn't know, they were not allowed us to learn. Now, speaking of invention, I think I have a clip here of Norm that we're going to play now? Was that the one about invention?
I missed those clips.
Black people across this country are outraged at what is happening now with these efforts to do away with the African American Museum and all of the Smithsonian. They're outraged because they've lived too many years, been through too many struggles, suffered too many bruises, and clearly have very, very, very little to show for that sojourn here in this country. I want to be real clear about this. If you erase it, we will replace it. It's that damn simple. We don't seem to learn. If anything, we should be looking at history to learn and to make sure that we are taking advantage of what we've learned. You know, it was Abraham Lincoln in 1848 who addressed his countrymen in Edwardsville, Illinois, and he said, and I quote, "When you have succeeded in dehumanizing the Negro, when you have put him down and made it but for him to be, but as the beast of the field, when you have extinguished his soul in this world and placed him where the ray of hope is blown out, as in the darkness of the damned, are you quite sure," he asked, "that the demon you have roused will not one day turn and rend you?" He said, what constitutes the bulwark of our freedom and our independence? It is not, said Lincoln, our crown and battlements. It is not our armies and our navies. It is not our bristling seacoast. For all those things are not our reliance against tyranny, because they can all be turned against us without having made us weaker for the struggle. Our reliance, he said, as Americans, is in the love of liberty which God has planted deep within all of us, regardless of how we look and where we come from. He said our reliance is in the spirit of freedom, which prides itself as the heritage of all men in all lands everywhere. And then he admonished, destroy that spirit, and you would have planted the seeds of despotism at your own doorstep. Ignore, he said, the chains of human bondage, and you prepare one day for your own limbs to wear them. Accustom, he said, to trample on the rights of other people, and you would have lost the creative genius of your own American independence, and as such, would become the fit subjects of the first cunning tyrant who rises among you. Sound familiar? History taught us and still teaches us that we can't keep making the same mistakes. So I know this is a big discussion about a lot of aspects about the museum, but I'm here as a black man who grew up in segregation, who wasn't allowed to go certain places, who drank from a water fountain that said colored, who found his mother and his father unable to do anything other than basic day work. And if for no one else, if for them and their spirit and all the other nameless and faceless black men in this country and black women who made their bodies bridges, that some of us could get to the university, that some of us could get to a good job, that some of us could get to the United States, if for no other reason. I want this to go out loud and clear, and I'm not speaking just on behalf of myself. I know that I speak on behalf of so many people who are not here today. We will not let you destroy that museum. No matter how long it takes, how many battles are required, how much effort is needed, we will not allow that to happen unless you find a way to kill all of us and walk over our bodies to change history. That history is too sacred, it is too precious, and it will not be erased. Because, as I said, if you attempt to erase it, we will continue to replace it over and over and over again. Black people
Where the
across...
goats can get it. That is bringing it where the goats can get it. That's very clear, very plain, emphatic for anyone to hear. That is where we are today. Mm-hmm. That is where we are today, and I embrace his remembrance of where he came from, how he got here, how he knows where his parents came from. Mm-hmm. That is what you find when you have elders speaking lived experiences.
That's right.
You know, historical experiences. Experiences that many of our young people don't know about because they have not the history, took the history away from them. This is nothing new, what they are attempting to do. It's just that it's in this time, it just seems so, I don't even know the word for it. You would think it would not be even thought of in this day. We fought so hard for it, and now we're like a blink of an eye, within a year, all of this has been taken away. You know, It is really is a shame. But it's those folks like the brother Mfume and others that will stand firm,
Right.
and that's what we have
And
to
we
do.
and we have to come together. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that we really, really have to come together. And that's one of the reasons I love this podcast.
Yes,
Because we need to get the word out.
yes, yes.
Hopefully, down in the future, if I do anything, I'll do a social justice a podcast so that we could focus on strategy. Strategy.
Yeah.
But strategy that we will keep amongst ourselves.
Oh, yeah, there's some things just cannot
Right.
be diverged for right now.
Strategy that we would keep amongst
Let
ourselves.
Norm, if I could see my folks, my villagers, just to give them kudos here. Love to see who's on. Lloyd Shivers, good afternoon, family. Joy Jackson, all the way from California, good afternoon, everyone. Rashida, my baby, I love you. To keep watching us, Sharon. And Tyrese Franklin, hey, cuz, what's happening with you? Robert Cabbage Dog, Askia Muhammad, my baby, my grand. I'm releasing a memoir as we speak on black men, our black sons. I want you all to keep a watch out for it. It's a powerful book, if I must say it myself. We're talking about the plight of our black boys, our black men, our sons, and I compare them to the celestial sun. I talk about when I went to Africa some years back, North Africa that is, saw that particular sun. And obviously I had seen the sun many times before, but this one just struck me really. It was just a phenomenon. It would shine so brightly. It seemed to me anyway, brighter than I ever seen any sun before. But what happened, I thought no more about it until years later when my youngest son made his transition some 4 years ago. And I thought about that celestial sun. He reminded me so much. He's shone so brightly. Was one of those kids that just was energetic. Many misunderstood his energy. But I'm writing about that. That just not him, it's our black boys in general, our black sons. And I compare our sons, our black sons, to that celestial African sun that I saw. But any case, that's coming out. My other book that I told you all about, it's a little booklet that it's a little pocket thing that you could put in your pocket actually, but it's just information for the soul. When you're confused about certain things and you don't really understand what's going on. It says here, it's a pocket guide to clarification and restoration. See, I'm about restoration. That Rose was just saying with Dr. DeGraw and the rest of them, we got great scientists, we got great experts who have diagnosed what's wrong with her. Now, as with any injury, because slavery was not just a crime, but an injury. So within the injury, you have to tend to it. You have to treat it. And we have not been treated. We've not been tended to, because there's always been a reason to keep us from doing that. So this pocket guide to clarification and restoration, throughout this manual, specific terms will be used. You remember I tell you all about the new lexicon? To define African American lived experiences, that is, such as excuse, rooted in a foundation of white privilege, explanation, rooted in a foundation of enslavement. This distinction matters. It reframes a behavior not as avoidance of responsibility, but as the result of historical and systemic conditioning. Ma'afa, M-A-A-F-A, the transatlantic slave trade, the greatest crime against humanity.
Yes.
A coin praised by a sister named Dr. Anna. She coined this. My office is Kiswahili word, meaning the worst.
Mm-hmm.
She picked this up just to define our situation, and opposed to using the word slavery. Because when we use the word slavery, sometimes we get confused.
Yes.
If I was enslaved and other folks enslaved, then you hear people say, well, we enslaved ourselves. No.
No.
What we went through, the 300, 200 years,
Nobody enslaved
particularly
themselves.
the 400 years, that was something other than slavery. You know, our Jewish friend used a word specifically for what happened to them, the Holocaust.
Right.
We need to be as specific. Don't allow anybody to,
Alter that.
yeah,
or
alter
soften
that.
it.
Yeah, it's nothing to be softened. We had ma'afa is the word we should
Greater
use.
than the Holocaust.
Greater than the Holocaust. Yeah, because at least with the Holocaust, once they finished, they could pick up and go forward with what they
And it
had.
only lasts, what, 6
Yeah,
years?
and really, even it was bad. It was, make no mistake
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
was very bad.
But what I'm saying, with what they went through, they were able to recoup, just pick right up and go forward. We were stripped, unlike any other group. We were stripped of things that didn't allow us just to pick up. And even with that, we did pick up. Even to show you how great we are. Even with all that, we managed to move on, because it's the resilience. We have the resilience. That's probably from that DNA that everyone else had. So the book is Africanism, the Injury, Africanology, a discipline to study. I'm putting names to it. They say in order to cure a thing, you got to name a thing. ASVA, the African Slave Virus 401, is a condition coined as a virus. This book has been developing in my consciousness for years, but its urgency became undeniable during the 2020 pandemic. The parallels between that virus and the African American experiences are striking. For over 400 years, enslavement has been described as a tragedy, a crime, and a dark chapter in American history. It has been memorialized, debated, apologized for, and legislated against. Yet it has never been formally recognized as a catastrophe,
Yes.
generational injury, one that altered the internal functioning of people across time. Damaged Goods Made in America proposes a different framework. It presents the African American experience as exposure to a rare and devastating virus, one deliberately introduced, mutated across generations, and affecting core functions such as memory, self-perception, trust, group cohesion, future orientation, physical abnormality. Now,
Right.
there's a few other things in this pages in this little book, but this is just give you an idea,
good idea.
yeah, what it's all about. And I did this purposely because we got to begin to see what we went through from a different perspective. It was not just a crime, and it was a big crime, but
Right.
it was an injury that still worked through us as we speak.
You
Yes.
know what I understand from what they did with that whole thing? Again, it's because they knew who we were. We
Okay.
didn't know who we were.
Mm-hmm.
They knew how powerful we were.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who weren't sure, when the Moors came on,
Mm-hmm.
the blackest of the black,
Yeah.
and they built those civilizations.
Yes.
They built Europe. They built every civilization from the time of the first century. Rome went down. The Moors came and conquered, and they built all. Well, matter of fact, they were there before.
Right.
But what I mean is that
Mm-hmm.
when the whites came
Yeah.
and conquered, they saw these great buildings, these great things, and they put even more effort and money.
Yeah.
The Europeans did. Who are these people? And I want to say this. It is our melanin
Mm.
is what they were afraid of. The powers that be will never tell you, but it is our melanin.
Yeah.
So what they told the white masses is, you are better than these people. So they tried to, because we were not aware of who we were because we were taken into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Read Isaiah 19. It starts there. The whole chapter of Isaiah 19. It starts with this transatlantic slave trade. And the prophecy of what will happen that brings us to today is Deuteronomy 28.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, when they realized that we were a great people,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to mix with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They wanted to genetic because they knew that was the only way to get some of our melanin.
Mm.
But they still ended up, we got albinos and we ended up with different variations.
Mm.
And the more people moved forward, the more the diaspora moved forward, then there
Mhm.
was more mixing.
Mm-hmm.
But every place in the earth was inhabited by black people first.
Oh, yeah,
Even
we was
Alaska,
original.
Greenland.
Okay.
So understand that, and the only reason I'm taking the time to say this is because understand what was done in their minds was gradually done more and more and more, because no matter what they did, they could not put us down.
Mm-hmm. And they understood that clearer than
They
anyone
understood it
else
from the beginning.
because it was the scientists of the 1800s,
Exactly, that
the
provided
white
the
side, the
proof.
Europeans. So it wasn't the Ku Klux Klan or those other ones
No,
that just got.
not those
It was
knuckleheads.
those
The
academic
ones with the proof.
the academics that came about presenting this nonsense
Right,
to about us
right,
way back when the only person that would recognize were them, the scientists, the Eurocentric scientists. And they put all this stuff out about us, knowing all along the real
Right.
deal.
exactly.
Uh-huh. So even some of the dumbest of them, you
Right.
know, like
And
the
they
Ku Klux Klan,
believed it.
They believed it.
Even
And-
though they saw what we did before them, they believed that they were better than
Better.
us. So this is how it perpetrated through generations.
Yeah.
Because rather than giving whites even being fair to their own, what whites haven't figured out is you got scammed too.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Because instead
Definitely.
of giving you even what they say that you were worth,
Mm-hmm.
they told you that no matter where your station is in life, you're better than the black
Yeah,
man. And
yeah.
they bought this.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's psychological and it's demonic.
Yeah.
But understand your melanin identifies your worth. Let no man tell you any different. Your melanin, the fact that we got it, makes us spiritually superior, and that touches, we were designed superior. We are the progenitors of the earth. And again, if you don't understand, I believe Ruby said the documentary that was done by the Discovery Channel that starts from the beginning of the African motherland until now, European studies done all over the world, culminated all of that work into a documentary called The Real Eve, and it was based off an article that was done by the Discovery Channel.
Right.
But it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I want
Everything is out now, so there's no really, and I don't even like to use the word excuse, because in my book I talk
There
about the
is
two
no
words,
excuse, yeah.
excuse and explanation. Whatever we have done is not excuse. It's because we either don't know,
Right.
not been aware, not
Right.
been taught, whatever. But like she says, everything is out there
Right.
now. You can just hit YouTube, hit all the other channels, and you get a lot of information, a lot of history. There's
Right.
African history all abound. So there is a reason now that we can move forward
Yes.
more quickly
Yes.
than before, because we have it right at our fingertip. Of course, because we have it doesn't mean that that is the way that we need to move forward in our, I like to say, restoration, because we got to restore ourselves. You know, it's not enough. Let me rephrase that. We don't have to restore ourselves. That's just like asking a cancer patient to restore themselves. You go to an oncologist, or you go up to a professional. If you got a heart attack, you don't do it yourself. You go to
Right.
someone else. Well, with us, to give an example, metaphorically, if you want to say that we have been injured, we shouldn't expect ourselves to cure what ails us. So what I'm suggesting, we think about it from a whole different perspective. The thing is, you would think about any other injury. And with that in mind, we won't point fingers at each other. Well,
Right.
I don't know why we don't stick together. I don't know why we hate each other.
Right.
I don't know why we this, or I don't know why we that, because we haven't been treated. We haven't
Right.
been tended to. And that is one of the things that I will promote here on this podcast, is for us to understand that we need when I use the word Ruby, the unapologetic amateur, looking for experts in Africanology. I specified. I don't mean just expert anywhere, because you
Right.
can get an expert mechanic that may not know how to do my expert gardening. So
Right.
I'm saying specifically experts in what I'm talking about is Africanology, as I coined it, because it means that it's a discipline. It should be seen as a discipline.
Absolutely.
That you have to go to school, you have to study it, you have to know how to come back to me, the amateur, and explain to me what I need to get
Right.
through what I'm going through.
Right.
So, to that extent, we'll continue to promote that idea on this podcast. But until that happens, we just have to go with what we got. We are resilient people.
Absolutely.
When you hear me say we have been damaged, don't mean we're permanently damaged, because even with the damage, we can meet anyone at any level. Even so, so that speaks to all that they took from us, to what we still have.
Right.
What would you just imagine? Use your imagination, and to say these are the folks that that created the scientists that build the pyramids. These are the ones that did society, great institutions. And within a 400-year period, from the time they stole us from our homeland, brought us over here through the transatlantic slave trade, is what you see now. And what you see now is not what we naturally are. But again, even with that, we still outshine most of them. Like we just said, we invented most of what you see
Just
going
about
on.
everything. I can't think of anything that we did,
Yeah,
because there's
that we
nothing
didn't
that's
invent.
new.
Because we know what we not recognize that they stole.
Right.
So it's not that we were given credit for a whole lot of the inventions.
Right.
And the few that we were given credit, that's major, because I'm surprised that we got credit for anything. But so we did, and we're so thankful. So Rose, back to you now.
Well, I'm almost done. I have one last word I want to leave us with, because I want you to have the last word, of course, and use your wisdom.
No, I'll be a guest for you sooner or
I
later,
know,
but
I know,
right now
but
you are
may
my
not
guest.
Say the same thing.
Yeah.
But if I would like to leave nuggets, something, because you may not remember everything that is said, you can always play it back. I'm nobody. I'm just called to do these things, and I thank God that He, drove me, because I'm 70.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting.
Yeah, well, he knows what he's doing.
But
God
He's
knows
been
what
driving me since my my mid-30s.
Yeah.
But I can tell you stories and testimonies, and I'm telling you, just one quick testimony. When I wanted a house, and I was in this holy sanctified church, little storefront in Elizabeth, and I would hear the testimonies and everything. And my husband was an engineer, but again, young people don't have the knowledge. Okay, he was an engineer in Englehart. And he hated it because he got it from the top, and he didn't feel like being bothered with dealing with the people from the bottom. He had we're both Leos, very low patience, and type A personalities. But God has tempered that.
Okay.
I don't have it anymore. Now I critically think and use wisdom and put things in its appropriate place. So recognize game. Let me just put it like that. That's where I am today. So you can't work this.
Yeah.
I asked God. I was reading the Bible. I was saying, God, we want a house. We want a house, because my mother-in-law died, and so now he had his 3 brothers, including our own 1 kid. And I read the scripture that said, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness therein. So me being that bold, radical individual that I am, and I didn't mention before that I wanted to join the Black Panthers when I was young, and I was too young. So they let me pass out the pamphlet. So I learned a little bit from watching them, at least what their mission was.
Right.
So that being said, I believed the word of God. But I proofed everything. I don't believe nobody with nothing. So I proofed it. So that's what I did. I went out, and me and my sister-in-law, we looked at houses. And in the Holy Sanctified Church, they believe in giving you a point of contact, whether it's a little green this, a little mustard seed,
Okay.
something. Because everybody's faith is built differently. You know what I'm saying? Some of us got a lot, some of us got a little. I said it's based on your knowledge, okay, and what you believe. So I took the rock off the property and did the old name it and claim it.
Right.
Because back then, them black preachers was back there. Mine didn't, though. But a lot of television teachers said name it and claim it, and I put it in the mailbox. And about 2 weeks later, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, God, I go back. The mailman threw it out the mailbox. The mailbox had mail in it, but my rock that I was holding on to, I put another one in there. Within a week, they called us about that house. And yet, we did have a little bit of a struggle. But the thing is, I didn't care what nobody said. That wasn't the right house if we didn't get it, because I was leaning on the word of God, and I got that house. But so I just want you to know know the power that you have in you. Even when I didn't know it, my faith carried me.
Yeah, well, but it's
My
nothing
faith
like
carried
the faith.
me. But I want to leave you with this because of the young people. I want to say my last few words about what I
talk
got
about
going
the
for
I
young
want you to
people.
talk about that.
Um,
William Zacap
yes,
Academy.
Yes. They would have been well rested up by now.
It should
so
be.
I'm going to put them to work. See, you got to flip the script. But I want to say this for the adults because you know it takes a village, and we need you to reinforce what we're doing here because we're going to leave them to a miserable world, and you know that, and we want them to be prepared. But I want to talk about music. And of course, I grew up on Motown and all of that. But when I was, I think, 12, I'll make this real quick. When I was 12, we moved to Bloomfield, which was a mixed neighborhood. Because my mother said if my father started drinking and so forth, so he left the home. My mother said, if I don't have the money to put you in a special school or whatever, I can at least take you to the zip code. She didn't know any better. She was thinking if it's a white school, it's a better school. But that wasn't so. It's just that they had better tools.
Yeah,
Okay,
better
that
tools.
was it. And because of the politics, the money was siphoned to the school because in a suburban neighborhood, you got mostly homeowners. So that being said about the school system, I think I taught them more than they taught me. But anyway, because I was a rebel by then. But that being, I was asking God a lot of questions then, even as a young person. But as a teenager, I wanted to say this. My point is, not only did I marry a music minister in the church, but I have had music because I can't sing. And that's the one thing I always wanted to do.
Then you
is
sing,
sing.
you can't do you want
I
to
can
do.
do a little bit now, but really, I really can't sing. My husband even said, baby, we're going to have to take you up there, anoint you and everything else, you know. And the one chance he gave me to sing, the spirit was so high, I passed out.
Oh, mercy.
They had to literally take me back to my seat. But I'm saying all this to say that I've experienced all genres of music. That is my point. And today, back then I heard it, but I didn't realize it. I don't know if you're familiar with groups like, oh boy, now the devil is a liar. I can't even think of the White Rocks group. I was into all of it. Led Zeppelin, you name it, Steve Miller Band, Cream, all of it. Then I kind of went into Jimi Hendrix and all of it. I've experienced all genres of music. And I want to tell you something. Back then, Black Sabbath, thank you. Black Sabbath used to, it was something going around then to the young people in the church. Don't listen to Black Sabbath. And this is the white church, okay? I was Episcopalian going to a white church at that time. because my mom didn't drive, so we had to go to a church that was close. Black Sabbath, because if you played their album backwards, they were reciting demonic chants. I didn't pay it any mind. I wasn't that much into Black Sabbath anyway. So I didn't pay it that mind. So today, it has evolved. Satan has never stopped bothering our kids. And this is not a sermon. This is not even... the only reason I'm bringing that up, that is spiritual, because we're in demonic warfare.
And because you're
that.
Involved with, you were getting ready to say about
Exactly.
the kids that you teaching them
about the music.
Bring out kids, African, Williams, Cuba.
Right. I want our
Academy,
kids to know
Plainfield
what
will be coming back.
They are listening to.
Yeah.
And I heard something on Urban View about this Nolan Wells case, which we don't have time to even get into that. I know God's going to expose that. But about the Nolan Wells case, people with money stepped up. Yet we're buying, I'm not buying, but I know young people are buying Drake, Rihanna, all of these black artists. I can't even tell you half of who they are. The only one I really like was Biggie Smalls and Tupac, to be honest. But because my kids were into that. But we're listening to these people, and they're making all this money. And these people, I want to hurry up because I want to get to the point so you can proof it. All of these people.
You got 1 minute.
All right. All of these people, how much did they step up with? We're listening to their music. We're supporting these brothers, these rap stars who we know got money. How much have they given? How much have Jay-Z stepped up?
Well, that's part of that treatment. See, they don't.
Understand?
They may be rich,
but
and they
yet
may be
we're
famous.
supporting them.
They may be rich, they may be famous. That does not mean that they are knowledgeable.
Exactly. But
you know
I
what I'm
want to
saying?
tell them this. I was listening to something on social media that I didn't even know about. This is how you go proof it. Their music is demonic. Their music is demonic. And it's because we're spiritual. Frequencies, vibrations, and it's all in the music. The proof is I never saw the movie. I'm going to make sure I order it this weekend. Cloning Brother Tyrone. Some of you might have heard of the movie or not, but in that movie, it goes through different types of music they used in that movie to show you.
We're going to bring you back again, but our time is...
Let me just say this. It shows you how they impact the spirit. Different types of music.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So watch the movie.
Got to bring you back.
Okay.
But right now, we got to leave here. I tell you,
know.
they say, Norman said you might not go where you
I'm
go,
going
but
home,
you're
honey.
leaving here.
I'm going
so,
home.
I think I got that right. But in any case, I want to thank my villagers. I always appreciate you all. I want you to do what you need to do to bring other folks with you, because that's the important. We're here to bring knowledge, to bring knowledge that's going to benefit us as African people, because that's what we're missing sometimes, the true knowledge. So if you all can just stay with us and bring on other folks, you like it. What is that other thing you do? You like it, you whatever you do.
Support it.
Well, you support, but you like it, and you do whatever you do to bring folks to listen to it.
Yes.
And
that's part of the Great Commission.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For that, we'll say thank you all, and God bless, and we'll see you next Monday.
And watch the movie.